Hi, my name is Brianna Morgan, and in my further oral assessment, I will be presenting and analyzing my first expository text, the music video This is America by Donald Glover or Childish Gambino, uploaded May 5th, 2018. Reinforced by my supporting evidence, the poem Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes, published July 1936. This is America is a music video in which the author's purpose is to reference race relations, violence, and the way African American culture is portrayed in a commercial culture in America. Hughes' objective in his poem, Let America Be America Again, was to express the false American dream of freedom at that time. My first inquiry question is how and why is a racial group presented in a particular way? So in the music video, African American dancing is being used as a form of entertainment, but also a form of distraction. In the video, dancing is placed in the foreground while the violence and chaos is being placed in the background. Black dancing is often applauded on social media, and the music video uses Gambino and African American school kids to take away from the violence and more pressing issues in the back. In the poem, a similar recognition issue is implemented. African Americans contributed to the growing of America with their loyalty and persistent work, while the rich white men had to do none of that, yet were able to vote and voice their opinion where African Americans were not. The African Americans did not get the recognition that they deserved for the work that they were doing to support America. My second inquiry question is which racial groups are marginalized, excluded, or silenced within the text? African Americans are marginalized in both the music video and in the poem. In the music video, tragic events such as death, accusations, racism, and stereotypes involving African Americans are created by the police and white supremacists. Glover uses this video medium to not only recreate these events, but to bluntly present them to us to emphasize their importance. In the poem, African Americans and other races coming to America are discriminated by the white men because of their appearance. Hughes explains the idea of the American dream, where America is the land of the free, yet it does not seem to be that way anymore, as the white patriarch has the power, while any person of color is excluded from this freedom and equality at this time. Relating the text to language and social relations. In Glover's video, he uses figurative language illustrated by facial expressions, body language, lyrics, and props to create an exaggerated but necessary message relating to African American culture in America. Glover uses personification as he plays the role of America in the video. Glover commits murder twice, and in the video, both times his gun is taken away with care by a red cloth, while the body is either left or dragged away, representing the value of guns over black lives. The audio also shifts in the actual song each time before and after he kills, and each time he walks away serious at first, but then changes his expression to a happier, carefree expression, almost as if nothing just happened. During this, he is oblivious to the violence and chaos presented behind him, and all he is focused on is entertaining the audience. This represents social media in America favoring African Americans as entertainment rather than focusing on the more serious situations present throughout. Likewise, in the poem, Hughes says, I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in the ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take your pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. In the didactic quote, we can make an inference that the line is referring to the rich white men held high in power from the history during this time the poem was written. On the contrary, when we are able to see this group's relation in America versus the relation of the poor people and people of color when he writes, Oh, let America be America again, the land that it never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. The rich whites are favored in America's society, while the people of color and poor are used for their labor and little to no pay from the rich whites. Demonstrating an awareness of how language and meaning are shaped by culture and context. Language and meaning are shaped by culture and context by using symbolism or body language to reenact the issues in the This is America music video. By Gambino dancing in the foreground, he is reenacting African dances such as the gua gua, or dances made by African Americans in American popular culture, and it shows the popularity in African Americans dancing aspects of their culture rather than the view of their struggles with equality and racism present in America. The use of the color red for the cloth to handle the murder weapon that was used to kill the African Americans represents the passion and care for weapons that America has over their lives, as red represents passion, power, and violence. Also, in the beginning of the video, when he shoots the guitarist, Gambino strikes a pose to resemble the fictional character Jim Crow, who was popular in 1833. Jim Crow was a character who became popular in the blackface minstrel shows for the whites' entertainment, much as how the African Americans are used for the entertainment to distract us from the violence happening in America. For my critical discourse analysis, I will be doing the music video This Is America, as it is my primary text. So for the framing, Donald Glover is playing the role of America, and through him we can see the perspective of America through his body language, his facial expressions, and also his lyrics. The spinning begins in an empty warehouse, but once the guitarist is shot, chaos breaks loose in the back, and the tone of the audio changes. The tone of the audio not only changes for when he shoots the guitarist, but when he shoots the church choir. The audio goes from a sort of upbeat, happy type of music to a more dramatic and cautious music. In one scene, after pretending to open fire at the school kids dancing around him, there are 17 seconds of silence, which can be interpreted as respect for the 17 people shot at the shooting at Parkland High School. For the foreground, Donald Glover and the school kids are dancing as a distraction from the background. They are doing this throughout the entire video, and in the beginning of the video, Donald Glover strikes a pose before shooting the guitarist, and again, this pose is imitating Jim Crow, which I mentioned before. The man being shot, though, resembles the looks of Trayvon Martin's father. Trayvon Martin was a 17-year-old African American who was shot by a policeman, which was basically the catalyst for the Black Lives Matter movement. The reason that Childish Gambino is shirtless is to show vulnerability, as well as his pants and shoes relating to the clothes of Confederate soldiers during the Civil War. He kills the black choir to evoke the Dylan Roof shooting, which was a white supremacist who came to a church service and killed 9 attendants at the service and wounded 1 in critical condition. At the end of the video, Donald Glover is running away, which shows America's final realization of what the society has created, but it's too late and all he can do is run away from the problems that he has created. For the background, once the man was shot, then chaos began to break out, signifying the one cause that created more problems. The bodies are dragged away while the guns are handled, again to represent the what is valued more in America. The old cars in the back are throughout the entire video and are especially shown at the end of the video. This is used to show little to no progression relating to racism and equality in America throughout the years. There is also a boy on top of the car who's using a money gun, representing connections between violence, entertainment, and profit and capitalism. In one scene, there is a white horse and a man dressed in all black, which resembles a biblical reference. Behold the pale horse, and the name that sat on him was death, and hell followed with him. Thus relating to the racial conflict in America, as well as it will come to kill us all, as it also foreshadows at the end of the video when Glover is running away and finally realizes the tragedies and how serious they really are, but it's too late. For the audience, the intended audience is for the people of America to realize what is actually going on, and to, especially for our generation who have access to social media platforms and can create our own voice to raise awareness for this and put an end to this finally. And it also is to kind of call out and really bluntly show the racism from white supremacists and the police towards African Americans throughout the video and in real life. For topicalization, he uses a quote that says, "This is Sally, that's a tool." He uses colloquialism as it refers a celly to a cell phone, and it is also multivocal, as it can be relating to the police shooting of Stephen Clark, or how our generation needs to use their phones and social platforms to speak out rather than just watch and record these events. For the agent-patient relations, Donald and the school kids have the most power, as they are the main thing that can be focused on. It's very hard to focus on the background, but at the end you can see that he's suddenly helpless and does not have the power, as the problem that has unfolded has the power. Language in a cultural context addressed. In conclusion, the language used both verbally and physically represented the culture of African Americans in America today, but the need for more support to put an end to these events and save the lives of innocent African Americans. Stereotypes cloud our judgments and prevent us from having relationships with others based on past events or perceived cultures. Our culture becomes less of a unit and more of a separated, and more conflict is started over racial views. Social networking is a huge part in our society and in our culture, and something most people can't function without. And with this tool, we can finally put an end to all this negativity.